Hi guys! If you're here because your teacher's making you watch this, I'm sorry. If you're here because you're dying of boredom and the only thing you could think of is to help watching was to help was watching the second part of my favorite books from 2019, I'm also sorry. But here we are. Without further ado, I bring you part 2 of my favorite books from 2019. On part 1, I talked about numbers 1 through 6. Today, I'll cover 7 through 12. Just like last time, I'll only give you the previews of the books on my list that we have in our library. Here we go. Number 7 is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which I have here at home. This book was so good, but it is not young adult, and I don't know that it's necessarily appropriate for our library, so we don't have it in there. If your mom is a reader, though, this might be a great Mother's Day gift for her because it's such a good book. Trigger warning, though, it does deal with domestic abuse, so you know. Okay, number 8, The Witch of Willow Hall by Hester Fox. Before we jump into the preview, can we just talk about how cool the name Hester is? I bet her parents were a fan of the Scarlet Letter. Anyway, while this book isn't categorized as young adult, it is perfectly appropriate for high school age readers. It is historical fiction, and it's set in the 1800s around a family whose female members are descended from the notorious Salem witches. Yes, those witches. For reasons unknown to the reader, at least in the beginning, the Montrose family has suddenly moved from the fancy city scene of Boston, Massachusetts, to the isolated countryside. The Montroses are wealthy, so it's really irregular for this family of 3 daughters to have been taken away from town where all their potential husbands are. The characters all know that there was some sort of scandal that sent them to the country, but none of them say what it is at first, leaving you, the reader, jumping to all kinds of conclusions. This book is one of the best. This is one of the best books, best parts of the book, because once you find out what the scandal is or was, you'll be like, no way. That's not what I was expecting. Seriously, y'all, you will not guess what the scandal was. But when it comes out, it will all make sense. This is 100% what makes a good author, by the way, in my opinion. The protagonist of the book is the least lively and plainest sister. Her name's Lydia. She's always been a little bit different from the other girls and even different from her sisters. In Boston, rumor had it that she was a peculiar person in a witchy kind of way. Even though the Salem witch trials occurred 200 years before this book is set, it's still pretty dangerous to be associated with witchcraft. Now, Lydia doesn't see herself that way, but the longer she lives in the country, and specifically in her family's new house, she starts to experience the supernatural and question her own sanity. One tall, dark, and handsome neighbor believes Lydia when she tells him about the weird things that are happening to her, and he tries to help her. Without giving away too much, I'll just say tragedy ensues. The Witch of Willow Hall is like 3 or 4 mysteries in one, with a thriller aspect on top. I loved this book. I definitely recommend it, and I have several times before already. Okay, number 9 is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book was part of Reese Witherspoon's book club. I really enjoyed this book, and I think it would make another really good gift for the adult readers in your life, but we do not have it in our library. Trigger warning, this book deals extensively with drug abuse. Number 10 on my list is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, which was the 3rd book of the Folk of the Air series. I gave a preview of that series in part 1 of this video, my 2019 favorites, so I'm not going to wear you out with that again. Number 11 is Made You Up by Francesca Zaffia. Oh, so good. A student recommended this book to me, and obviously I loved it. I don't know if I would have picked it up otherwise. So the girl who told me I should read Made You Up, thank you. You know who you are. And I also made Miss Jones read it, and she loved it. Okay, so here's the preview. The protagonist is a girl named Alex who is a high school senior. who also happens to be schizophrenic. Now, I don't personally know anyone who suffers from schizophrenia, so getting to read Alex's story in first person point of view was incredibly powerful for me. I got to experience life in her shoes. Throughout the book, Alex navigates her way through the world by trying to figure out what and who is actually real and who is actually part of her schizophrenia. So books like Made You Up are the reason why I feel so strongly that reading makes you a better person. The sympathy, nay, empathy that I gained through reading this from her perspective was amazing. Now, because of Alex's schizophrenia, I kind of can't share a lot about the book because it's too easy to accidentally give you a spoiler. Here's what I can tell you. Alex wants to go to college. Alex tries to experience the life of a typical high schooler. Most people don't know she has schizophrenia, and she tries to hide it. Alex meets a boy named Miles. I promise, this book is so good. Made You Up. Oh, so good. I will take it back to school so you can check it out. Finally, number 12 on my list of 2019 favorites is Poison Princess by Kresley Cole. This is the first book of the Arcana Chronicle series. This series was popular this series was probably even better than the Folk of the Air series that I talked about earlier. That is saying something. I know some of you have heard me rave about The Cruel Prince. This was better. Yeah, I'm saying it. So, I think I would actually put it just below A Court of Thorns and Roses in terms of young adult series that I'm obsessed with. A Court of Thorns and Roses is by Sarah J. Maas, and some of you know my love for Sarah J. Maas. This is good. The series is good. Okay. I will also say that if you don't believe me about the Arcana Chronicles, ask Miss Lickby because she's hooked on this series now too. Okay, I'm going to do my best to do this book justice. So at the beginning, we meet Evie Green, who seems like a very stereotypically senior cheerleader. She's the stereotypical senior cheerleader. Seriously, the stereotype you see in the movies, minus the really mean factor. She lives in Louisiana, and unbeknownst to her classmates, except her very best friend, she has spent the summer in a psychiatric ward. You see, Evie has visions of a post-apocalyptic United States, complete with the Grim Reaper and vile monsters. Now, like every cheerleader stereotype, Evie is dating the star of the football team, and even though everyone thinks she should be happy, she's not. Enter Jack DeVoe. Got to me fanning myself. Oh my gosh. So, Jack is from the other side of the parish, think county in Louisiana, and the wrong side of the tracks. So if you know, you get what that means. He's not from the same kind of family as Evie Green. Okay. She tries to befriend him on the first day of high school, but he sort of just lives up to his wrong side of the track stereotype, which kind of immediately makes Evie and Jack enemies because she's nice. She wants to be friends with everybody. One night after Evie's football star boyfriend throws her a birthday party in the middle of some abandoned field, as one does, the world starts to crumble. And shocker, Evie's visions start to come true. So basically, all of the world's population that didn't manage to make it to some sort of shelter before this apocalyptic flash thing happened, died. Evie made it, Evie's mom made it, Jack made it, and hardly anyone else that Evie knew personally did. Now the story becomes very Walking Dead-ish before Walking Dead jumped the shark. So complete with walkers and everything else, magical powers, possessed by Evie. Even though they hate each other, Jack and Evie have to find a way to survive in this new world. The Arcana Chronicles is such a good series. This book is probably my favorite of the 5 that are currently out. The 6th of the series is set to come out sometime this year, but a release date has not been set yet. We do have 1 through 5 in the library. Okay, that's it for my favorite books of 2019. I really hope the list inspired you to maybe check out a book or maybe just check out Goodreads. I'll put a video of a little tour of Goodreads up maybe next week so you can kind of see what that looks like. If you had to watch this for a grade, I'm sorry. But thank you for watching, guys. See you later.